Marks and Spencer says it expects disruption from a major cyber attack to continue through to July. The retailers had to put a stop to online orders and believes that the impact of the hack will cost it around £300 million. Meanwhile, the National Crime Agency says it's focusing on a notorious cluster of criminals, some who are in their teens, as part of its investigation into recent cyber attacks on a number of British retailers. Well, our cyber correspondent Joe Tidy reports.
The retailer says there's currently limited availability of some products in its stores.
Empty shelves.
Marks and Spencer has stopped taking online orders.
Online orders suspended.
Well, it comes as the Co-op has been forced to shut off part of its
Millions
IT
of people's
systems
data stolen. In the last 3 weeks, Co-op, M&S, Harrods and now some US retailers have all been attacked by anonymous hackers. The National Crime Agency's cyber unit says finding them is its top priority, and now for the first time it's confirming that inquiries are focused on a notorious collective of young English-speaking hackers.
We are looking at the group that is publicly known as Scattered Spider, but we've got a range of different hypotheses, and we'll follow the evidence to get to the offenders.
Scattered Spider is the name given to a collective of hackers responsible for high-profile attacks, including on US casinos and Transport for London. Since news emerged of this latest string of hacks on retailers, the cybersecurity world has pointed at the group as potential culprits.
We know that they're largely English-speaking. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're in England, but English-speaking language. We know that they communicate online amongst themselves in a range of different platforms and channels, which is, I guess, key to their ability to then be able to operate as a collective.
Spanish police arrested an alleged member of the Scattered Spider collective in Madrid last summer. 23-year-old Tyler Buchanan from Dundee was extradited to the US last month. In July last year, a 17-year-old from Warsaw was also arrested. 4 other men in their early 20s have also been charged, accused of being part of Scattered Spider, some when they were teenagers. Police say they're exploring all areas of the cybercrime ecosystem and are working with the FBI and Europol. But the agency also highlights that earlier this year it warned about the growth of a wider, sinister online cybercrime culture dominated by teenage boys. One former teen hacker who now uses his skills working with the good guys in cybersecurity agreed to talk to me anonymously.
I got arrested about 3 or 4 times. First time I was about 16 or 17. That was quite scary.
What do you think about the idea that there could be teenagers or very young hackers in the UK carrying out these attacks on retailers? Would that surprise you?
No, of course it wouldn't surprise me. You kind of can be anonymous nowadays, and they do feel a bit untouchable. It is really people's lives you're messing with, companies you're messing with, and for what ends, really.
Earlier this month, the hackers responsible for the ongoing extortion of Co-op contacted me. In text conversations, they refused to say who or where they are, only that they're using the cybercrime service Dragon Force. They also claimed to be behind the M&S and Harrods attacks too. They left me with this image, clearly enjoying the chaos they're inflicting. Joe Tidy, BBC News.
And as you can see, Joe Tidy joins us live now. And Joe, I just love this idea that they are contacting you directly. They're having a lot of fun with this, aren't they?
They are, and that's the thing about this group, Scattered Spider, which is where most people are pointing in the direction of them, and that now we've got confirmation from the NCA. They seem to be focusing in that area. They don't just go after money, like all cybercriminal gangs. They go after infamy and fame and chaos. And we know this from previous attacks as well, and the way they work. And the reason why there's so much evidence or potential evidence going in that direction is because of something called TTPs, which is techniques, tactics and procedures. The way they are working to get into these organisations seems to be following a very specific path that these teenagers and young people, probably from the UK and the US, have followed in the past.
And when it comes to the companies that they're targeting, you talked about Co-op, of Marks and Spencer's, of course, as well. M&S are not saying that it's cyberware, but from your experience, what do you think is happening to them? Because it's taking an awful long time to resolve what's happening with this huge company.
Yeah, so it all started at Easter time, so we're looking at nearly a month now. And M&S isn't saying that it's ransomware. They're still referring to this as a cyber incident. I'm not sure why they're doing that, but everyone in the security industry knows it's ransomware. And we know from ransomware, of course, that the hackers, it's like a 3-step process. You break in, you steal as much data as you can, then you scramble the files, and then you go to the company and you say, give me a certain number of Bitcoin, and we'll give you the key back to unscramble your data, and we won't publish that data on the internet. So that seems to be the situation that M&S is in. That's why we're seeing such a long tail of recovery for them compared to Co-op, which didn't have that final step. And then we don't know what's going on with Harrods. They haven't said anything. But from experience of speaking to companies that have been hit with ransomware, if you don't pay, you have to rebuild your entire network from scratch. And I've been in companies months and months on after they've been hit, and you've got stacks of computers piled up, completely unusable. And it's like they've got stickers on them, blue for dead and red for dead and blue for like we need to wipe it and then we need to get it back online. So that's the situation M&S is in. Unless, of course, they've paid the criminals, in which case there will be a quicker recovery. But that can still take a long time, months in some cases.
And ransomware, not cyberware, that's my mistake. It shows how much I know about this. For customers of those companies that have been targeted, change your password. What's the advice?
Yeah, I'm afraid it's the usual. It's change your advice and be wary, because that data that's now in the hands of criminals from the Co-op and from M&S, date of birth, names, addresses, phone numbers, email addresses, that can be used against you in secondary attacks, especially in the example of M&S, which has got payment and purchasing history. So you can just imagine, if you think like a cyber criminal, there could be secondary attacks that people need to be very aware and precautious of.
Think like a cyber criminal. That's advice that, yes, thank you very much, Joe Tidy. As always, really great stuff there. Thank you.